Tonight, Parliament declares Kpandai seat vacant, rendering former MP Matthew Nyindam a persona non grata following the expiration of the Speaker's moratorium, which ends weeks of intense political wrangling between the majority and the minority.
So the Honorable Nyindam is now a persona non grata. I pray that he must even be marched out of the chamber.
Let us not, for whatever convenience, attempt to frustrate others. Mr. Speaker.
We have all the angles covered here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies, also by Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep, and by Short Pension Trust into the future with you. Well, tonight, the Kpandai seat has fallen. The MP for the constituency, Matthew Nyindam, has been ousted as Parliament formally declares his seat vacant, ending weeks of political wrangling between the majority and the minority. This follows a 24th November ruling by the Tamale High Court, which ordered a rerun of the Kpandai elections, a decision the majority has repeatedly pressed the Speaker to enforce, even going as far as describing the MPP's Matthew Nyindam as a persona non grata in the House. Listen to the Chief Whip of the majority.
As the honorable member for Kpandai was flawed, and therefore that election has been ordered to be rerun, Mr. Speaker, ipso facto, the Honorable Nyindam is no longer a member of this House. He's not. He's not. So hear me. So that you can respond. So by operation of law, is no longer a member of this House with a voice. That's number one. That's number one. That's number one. That's number one. Number two, Mr. Speaker, we have received the court orders and received proof of service. The orders of the court has been duly served on Parliament. It was served yesterday. Speaker, it will serve the minority to listen to me in silence. I have a copy of the proof of service of the orders of the Tamale High Court dated yesterday, 24th of November, and served on Parliament. If he's minded to appeal the decision of the High Court, it is right, and he has done so. But it is tried that mere filing of an appeal does not operate as a stay of execution of the court's orders. Mr. Speaker, further, Mr. Speaker, I'm not raising these matters whimsically because precedents will guide us. Mr. Speaker, when the Honorable Kwesi was ordered by the court that he should go through rerun of his elections, members of this side at the time, mainly led by the now minority leader, spoke vociferously against the fact that the Honorable Kwesi cannot be entertained in this House. The issue was raised by Professor Kinslinyaku. He used to sit here, and that matter caught fire on this floor. Eventually, the Honorable Kwesi had to leave. By all means, you can hold your press conferences outside and say things against the judiciary. We won't do that. We will observe the orders of the court. If you are minded, the tournament for doing so is in the courtroom. So the Honorable Nyindam is now a persona non grata on this floor and to the presence of this parliament as a member of parliament. The court says he must go back and go through the processes. If he's duly re-elected, he can come back. But for now, he cannot. So I won't belabor the point. Speaker, on this basis, on the totality of my submission, I pray that he must even be marched out of the chamber by precedent. I am not saying so. Precedent set by this side when they were here.
So that is the chief whip, or was him, on the floor on the day, or just few days after the seat was declared. The election was declared null and asked that it had to be rerun by the Tamale High Court. But the minority, however, insisted the Speaker had no such authority, while fresh legal processes, including an appeal and applications for a stay of execution, were still before the court.
I want him to bring Hansard with proof that first deputy speaker, or your good Sevu was the second deputy speaker in the 8th parliament, ordered Mr. Jachikwesin out of this chamber because there was a high court order. I am aware that the matter came up, but no such order was directed, because I also remember that your side argued that he had filed a stay of execution pending the hearing of his appeal. They intimidate, insinuate, and act up. When they are getting the same taste, a bite of their actions, then they are crying. If they don't have the energy, they should be quiet and listen. After all, I've been here, this is my 4th term. Mr. Speaker, we are not here with manpower. We are not doing a macho business in this chamber. So we'll be told that a certain 189 has the macho power to move Honorable Nyindam out. No. No. Mr. Speaker, let us not, for whatever convenience, attempt to frustrate others. Mr. Speaker, we know of what happened on election night, where members on this side who had won their elections through machoism and attacks were denied their votes. We know what we've all gone through. So is this nation today encouraging violence, machoism as a way to move our democracy forward? I beg to say no. So, Mr. Speaker, this debating chamber must not metamorphose into a constitutional chamber. We should not attempt to advance a constitutional argument and make a constitutional determination where we know that there is another chamber responsible for that. Today it may be Nyindam.
Well, so that was the minority leader there. But tonight we've cited a letter from Parliament communicating the vacancy, in the House, and therefore the Electoral Commission should do what is legally required of it in terms of filing or filling that particular vacancy. My colleague James Aveji joins me in studio with details of that particular transmission from the Clerk to the Electoral Commission. James, what exactly is the Clerk saying to EC?
Well, Bray, so this letter is dated the 4th of December 2025, and as you said, is directed to Chairperson of the Electoral Commission under the heading Occurrence of Vacancy in the Membership of Parliament. And the details say that in exercise of the power conferred and the duty imposed on the Clerk to Parliament by Article 1125 as amended of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, as amended, I Ebenezer Ahuma Jethro, the Clerk to Parliament, do hereby formally notify you of the occurrence of a vacancy in the membership for Parliament, occasioned by the order of the High Court Tamale for a rerun of the Kpandai parliamentary elections given on the 24th day of November 2025. This notification is pursuant to the service of a court order on the Clerk to Parliament as the fourth respondent of the suit number, quoted the suit number. Accordingly, notice is hereby given, and this is signed by the Clerk to Parliament, Ebenezer Ahuma Jethro. So, per this, what we know is that Parliament has officially declared the Kpandai seat vacant, and it now beholds the EC to set a date for a rerun of this particular election, as we are seeing now in this letter that has just surfaced some few minutes ago from Parliament communicating to the Electoral Commission.
This is Top Story, brought to you by Telecel, Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil, and by Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. Now, we've been joined on the line by MP for Mensha South, Nana J. Bafwe, and I'm grateful to you for joining us. This must be shocking to you.
I'm very surprised, extremely surprised, because of the Speaker's ruling last week. I'm so surprised because I'm aware that a motion for stay of execution has been filed and same has been served on the Clerk to Parliament. I'm also aware that there's also a motion for certiorari which was filed at the Supreme Court. Now, having filed all these processes, particularly the motion for stay of execution, which constitutes a stay of execution pending the determination of the application. It looks like someone wants to beat all the legal processes. And, you know, it's very, very surprising. I don't know why the haste. You know, I'm utterly surprised.
But I mean, it's challenging because people are wondering, is it the fact that appeal on the judgment was indeed filed?
That appeal on the judgment is what?
I mean, they are appealing against the Tamale High Court judgment. Was it indeed filed? Because people are of the view that if it was filed, why are we where we are? And that's what we want to find out from you.
The question should rather be,
okay,
has the Speaker, the Clerk of Parliament, been served with the appeal, with the motion for stay of execution?
We've not heard from him on that regard.
There is no dispute about that. He has been served.
You know for sure that he has been served.
It was in, you know, it came up in Parliament. And so I'll be surprised if he has not been served. Okay. What would be the use of filing a motion of stay of execution and not serving the relevant authorities, in this case, bringing it to the attention of the Speaker? You see, the Parliament was not a party to the suit.
Yes.
And so Parliament can only have notice of the pending processes. And so if the Clerk of Parliament is notified of the pendency of the process, it's sufficient. It's sufficient. So I would be very surprised if the Clerk of Parliament has not been notified. Then the filing of the process, very respectfully, may not have been of, useful value. But I have a strong belief that the Clerk of Parliament has been served, has been notified.
Well, but the filing of a stay of execution, does it in itself constitute a stay?
It constitutes a stay of execution.
When the court has not granted it?
When the court hasn't granted it. You see, there are three types of stay of execution. There is the stay of execution, which is what we call the statutory stay. That is the rules of court after a decision has been made, which is executable. You have a 7-day cooling off period. That 7-day cooling off period, it is anticipated that if you wish to appeal and file a motion for stay, you will do it within that period. If you don't do it within that period, then your back is opened for an attack. That is for the order or judgment to be enforced. Then you have the stay of execution, which would arise because of the pendency of the application, which stems from practice. The practice is that pending the determination of that application, there is a stay. Reason being that unless that order is stayed and you go into enforcement, right, the application itself will become moot. And so pending the determination of the application, the execution of the order or the enforcement of the order is stayed. Right? And then there is the order for stay of execution. That is the consequence of the determination of the application. And so following the determination of the application, the court then makes an order for stay of execution. There are three types. Now, when there is such an application pending and notice of it has been brought to the attention of the clerk, I believe, right, should not be taking any step, because the Justice Administration of Ghana rests on three parameters: the law itself, the rules of practice, the rules of practice and procedure, and judicial precedent. And so very much the Constitution, covers these. And so even if you have a constitutional right or constitutional duty to perform under the Constitution, a notice of stay of execution of that constitutional duty, right, notice of stay of execution, right, from which that, based on where the constitutional duty is being performed, I believe that it is only proper that you stay pending the outcome of the determination of the application.
Well, once the clerk has written to the Electoral Commission, what remedy is available to your colleague, Matthew Nyindam, as well as
I believe that his recourse rests with a court order. His recourse rests with a court order, because the EC is now seized with the performance of a constitutional duty. In the absence of a court order, they are constrained. And so I hope that the court will expedite the processes before them.
The application, as we know, was supposed to be moved on the 16th day of December 2025. In that space, if the court doesn't give an order, it means the EC will go ahead and conduct that rerun, right?
If the 16th of December, that is, if the rerun will be done before the 16th of December, I doubt it would.
It wouldn't be. But I'm asking, if the court doesn't give orders on the 16th day of December, the EC can go ahead and conduct.
The EC will be constrained by a constitutional duty to proceed.
Okay, but from your knowledge of the law, what do you see happening on Tuesday, the 16th of December, when this particular application is moved?
Historically, courts are reluctant to stay execution of their own decision. Courts are reluctant. And so it may well seem that the prospects that the courts may grant it, the prospects are low. That said, the court may equally take cognizance of the pendency of the motion for certiorari at the Supreme Court and say that it would want the outcome, right? It would want to hold on with the application until the Supreme Court application is determined. Don't forget, what is before the Supreme Court is the motion for certiorari. Because it is a motion for certiorari, if it is determined positively in favor of my colleague, Mr. Nyindam, the effect of it will be that the judgment never exists, or the judgment was never made. It will be quashed. And so what the judge may do will be to say that he's not taking any step until the certiorari application is determined. I suspect that is why the Speaker has taken the step that he has taken.
The clerk.
The clerk will work under the instructions of the Speaker.
Okay.
I suspect that is why they have done what they have done today. They want to pull the rug off the feet of the Supreme Court.
But is there an opening for Matthew Nyindam to probably still stay this particular decision by the clerk? Is there anything like that?
The Supreme Court out. Yes, he can file. He can file a process. That possibly may injunct he may injunct the EC. He can file a process that possibly may injunct the EC.
What would be the strategy of your side tomorrow? Because per this letter, it means that tomorrow Matthew Nyindam is not supposed to be in the House.
I can't disclose it on air. I can't, because obviously we are not up against fair arbiters. We are not up against fair arbiters. And so we can't put strategies on air.
Well, quite an interesting issue we have on hands here. Okay, well, we must be grateful to you for the education you've given us today. Where you stand and the matters that are coming up, if the Supreme Court doesn't stay or Matthew Nyindam doesn't file an injunction, he's a goner, per the explanation you've given.
Yes. So it's very interesting. Unless there's no, the matter is in the court, the ball is in the court of the Electoral Commission. Unless there is an order of the court, nothing will stop the EC but move on. The only order I foresee happening in the scheme of things will be an injunction. But think about it. This is where the challenge really is. An injunction to injunct who? The EC, the clerk has already notified the EC of vacancy of a seat in Parliament. And so the horse has already bolted. An injunction is granted, or an injunctive order is made to stop the performance of any act, or to stop the performance of any act that may result in an injury to a person. Now that the Speaker has already declared the seat vacant, right? If the court grants an injunction, it may grant an injunction, or it may make an order for injunction to stop the EC from going ahead to organize the election, right? Meanwhile, the seat has been declared vacant by the Speaker. And so we have a serious constitutional crisis on our hands. Meanwhile, there's a pending application for certiorari at the Supreme Court. And so what happens if the certiorari application is granted? If it is granted, the Speaker has already declared the seat vacant. And so the Supreme Court, upon questioning the judgment, if the Supreme Court questions the judgment, it may have to make a consequential order saying that the seat is not vacant. The Constitution, however, vests the power to declare as whether or not a seat is vacant in the hands of the Speaker. And so we have quite a crisis on our hands. The matters are unfolding. I think that a lot of the matters will become clear in the coming days. Okay.
I'm grateful to you, Nana J. Bafwewa, is MP for Mencha South. Let's bring in briefly Abraham Amaleba, Director of Conflict Resolution of the NDC. He is a member of their legal team as well. Grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, there is a certiorari application that was supposed to be moved on the 16th day of December 2025 on this particular matter. What is the law behind Parliament going ahead to declare the seat vacant when this particular application is pending at the Supreme Court?
Say it again.
I'm just asking for an education of the law behind declaring the seat as vacant when there's a certiorari application on the same matter to be moved on the 16th day of December.
It depends on what has been served on Parliament. So if what has been served on Parliament is what the plaintiffs judge said, if the judgment from the plaintiff is what has been served, or the petitioner is what has been served on Parliament, and then this certiorari application is not before Parliament, then there's nothing before Parliament that can stop Parliament from going ahead to do what it did. So it depends on what is before Parliament.
Parliament is an interested party in this certiorari application. So it's assumed that, because according to Nana, he knows that Parliament is aware of that. Should that have state Parliament's decision on this particular matter the way they have?
But also, the certiorari application does not tie the hands of Parliament, because that is not a stay of execution. And I don't know whether Parliament has been served with a stay of execution before the certiorari application. So if what has been served on Parliament is just the certiorari application, that cannot tie the hands of Parliament.
If the certiorari is granted, what happens?
Well, there isn't any seat available now. And so if the certiorari is granted, then it is a victory which cannot be enforced.
Okay. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. Quite interesting days we had to experience in Parliament and in Ghana. This has been Top Story, brought to you by Telecel, Holding Insecticide Spray and Coil, and Shield Pension Trust. Up next is Newsnight.